Ground and neutral wires, while connected at the service entrance, have distinct functions. The neutral wire, typically white, carries the return current from electrical devices back to the source. It's a current-carrying conductor under normal operating conditions. The ground wire, usually green or bare, provides a low-impedance path for fault current to return to the source, tripping a breaker or fuse and clearing the fault. It's a safety conductor and should not carry current under normal conditions. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, addresses grounding and bonding requirements extensively. Firstly, Article 250.2 defines grounding as connecting to earth or a conductive body that serves as earth. This establishes a reference point of 0 volts and limits voltage imposed by lightning, line surges, or unintentional contact with higher voltage lines. Secondly, Article 250.4 focuses on general requirements for grounding and bonding. It specifies that grounding electrical systems and equipment must create a low-impedance circuit facilitating the operation of overcurrent devices. This ensures safety and minimizes the risk of electrical shock. Thirdly, Article 250.24 covers grounding service supplied alternating current systems. It mandates that the neutral conductor be connected to a grounding electrode system. This connection ensures a stable voltage reference and provides a path for fault current. Fourthly, Article 250.28 details the requirements for main bonding jumpers and system bonding jumpers. These jumpers connect the equipment grounding conductor to the grounded conductor, typically at the service equipment. This connection ensures that all metallic parts of the electrical system are at the same potential. Fifthly, Article 250.92 addresses bonding metal enclosures containing service conductors. These enclosures must be bonded to ensure a continuous low-impedance path for fault current. Sixthly, Article 250.96 covers bonding other enclosures. Metal enclosures containing electrical conductors other than service conductors must also be bonded. Seventhly, Article 250.118 lists acceptable grounding conductors. These include copper, aluminum, and other approved materials. Eighthly, Article 250.122 specifies the size of equipment grounding conductors. The size must be adequate to safely carry the available fault current. Ninthly, Article 250.130 addresses equipment grounding using grounding type receptacles. This allows portable equipment to be grounded through the receptacle. Tenthly, Article 250.146 covers connecting receptacle grounding terminals to the equipment grounding conductor. This ensures that the receptacle is properly grounded. 11thly, Article 250.148 details continuity and attachment of equipment grounding conductors to boxes. This ensures a continuous grounding path. The importance of both ground and neutral lies in their distinct roles in safety and circuit operation. Without a neutral, the circuit cannot function as it provides the return path for current. Without a ground, fault currents cannot be safely returned to the source, potentially leading to electrical shock or fire. In a typical electrical system, the neutral is grounded at the service entrance, usually at the transformer. This creates a single point where the neutral and ground are connected. From this point, the neutral wire is run to each outlet and appliance, providing the return path for current. The ground wire is also run to each outlet and appliance, but it is not intended to carry current under normal conditions. It's connected to the metal chassis of appliances and equipment. If a fault occurs, such as a wire coming loose and touching the metal chassis, the ground wire provides a low impedance path for the fault current to flow back to the source. This high current flow will trip the circuit breaker or blow the fuse, disconnecting the circuit and preventing electrical shock. The NEC emphasizes the separation of neutral and ground conductors downstream from the main service disconnect. This is to prevent stray currents from flowing on the ground conductor, which could interfere with sensitive electronic equipment or create a shock hazard. The grounding electrode system, as defined in Article 250.50, typically consists of a ground rod, ground ring, or connection to a metal water pipe. This system provides a connection to the earth, which helps to stabilize the voltage of the electrical system and provide a path for lightning surges to dissipate. Bonding, as covered in Article 250.64, involves connecting all non-current carrying metal parts of the electrical system together to create an electrically continuous path. This includes metal conduits, metal enclosures, and metal piping. Bonding helps to ensure that all metal parts are at the same potential, which reduces the risk of electrical shock. The size of the grounding and bonding conductors is critical. Article 250.122 specifies the minimum size of the equipment grounding conductor based on the size of the overcurrent protection device. The larger the overcurrent protection device, the larger the grounding conductor must be. This is to ensure that the grounding conductor can safely carry the available fault current. The installation of grounding and bonding systems must be done carefully and in accordance with the NEC. Improper grounding or bonding can create a serious safety hazard. It's important to use the correct materials and techniques to ensure that the grounding and bonding system is effective. The NEC is a comprehensive document that covers all aspects of electrical installations, including grounding and bonding. It is essential for electricians and electrical contractors to be familiar with the NEC and to follow its requirements carefully. The NEC is updated every 3 years to reflect changes in technology and best practices. It is important to stay up to date on the latest edition of the NEC. In summary, the neutral wire carries the normal return current, while the ground wire provides a safety path for fault current. Both are essential for a safe and properly functioning electrical system. The NEC provides detailed requirements for grounding and bonding to ensure electrical safety. A key difference between the neutral and ground wires lies in their intended purpose. The neutral wire is a functional conductor designed to carry current during normal operation of electrical devices and appliances. It completes the circuit, allowing electricity to flow from the power source to the device and back. The ground wire, on the other hand, is a protective conductor. It's not meant to carry current under normal circumstances. Its primary role is to provide a safe path for fault current in the event of a short circuit or other electrical fault. This path allows the fault current to quickly flow back to the source, tripping a circuit breaker or blowing a fuse into energizing the circuit. This prevents electrical shock hazards and minimizes the risk of fire. The connection point of the neutral and ground wires at the service entrance is a critical aspect of electrical system design. This single connection point, often at the main panel, ensures that both conductors are referenced to the same potential. It establishes a common ground for the entire electrical system. However, it's important to maintain separation between the neutral and ground wires throughout the rest of the electrical system, downstream from the main panel. This separation prevents unwanted current flow on the ground wire, which can cause problems with sensitive electronic equipment and increase the risk of electrical noise. The grounding electrode system plays a vital role in providing a connection to the earth. This connection helps to stabilize the voltage of the electrical system and provide a path for lightning surges to dissipate. The grounding electrode system typically consists of one or more grounding electrodes, such as ground rods, ground rings, or metal water pipes that are in direct contact with the earth for at least 10 feet. These electrodes are connected to the grounding system through a grounding electrode conductor. Bonding, as mentioned earlier, involves connecting all non-current carrying metal parts of the electrical system together to create an electrically continuous path. This includes metal conduits, metal enclosures, and metal piping. Bonding helps to ensure that all metal parts are at the same potential, which reduces the risk of electrical shock. The size of the grounding and bonding conductors is determined by the size of the overcurrent protection device. The larger the overcurrent protection device, the larger the grounding conductor must be. This is to ensure that the grounding conductor can safely carry the available fault current. Improper grounding and bonding can have serious consequences. If the grounding system is not properly installed, fault currents may not be able to flow back to the source, which can increase the risk of electrical shock and fire. Similarly, if the bonding system is not properly installed, metal parts of the electrical system may not be at the same potential, which can also increase the risk of electrical shock. The NEC provides detailed requirements for grounding and bonding to ensure electrical safety. It's essential for electricians and electrical contractors to be familiar with the NEC and to follow its requirements carefully. The NEC is updated every 3 years to reflect changes in technology and best practices. It's important to stay up to date on the latest edition of the NEC to ensure that electrical installations are safe and compliant. Grounding is achieved with a grounding electrode system. Common grounding electrodes include ground rods driven into the earth, metallic water pipes in direct contact with the earth for 10 feet or more, and ground rings encircling the building. The grounding electrode conductor connects the grounding electrode system to the electrical system. Bonding ensures all metallic parts are at the same electrical potential, reducing shock hazards. The main bonding jumper connects the grounded conductor neutral to the equipment grounding conductor of the service equipment. Supplemental bonding may be required in specific locations like swimming pools or hazardous locations. Equipment grounding conductors connect non-current carrying metal parts of equipment to the grounding system. They provide a low impedance path for fault currents to return to the source. The size of equipment grounding conductors is based on the size of the overcurrent protective device. Article 250 covers grounding and bonding requirements in detail. It's essential for electricians to understand and follow these requirements for safe electrical installations. Ignoring grounding and bonding requirements can lead to serious electrical hazards. Improper grounding can result in electrical shock, fire, and equipment damage. It's crucial to prioritize safety and adhere to the NEC guidelines. For example, Article 250.45 requires electrical equipment to be installed in a neat and workmanlike manner. This includes proper grounding and bonding connections. Also, Article 250.6 allows the use of impedance grounding under certain conditions. The impedance limits the ground fault current to a safe level. Furthermore, Article 250.30 provides specific rules for grounding separately derived systems. These systems, such as generators or transformers, require their own grounding electrode system. These are all very important.